United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, very good. Okay, roll call.
Commissioner Clough,
Here.
Commissioner Cox,
Here.
Commissioner Graven. Here. Commissioner Phipps. Mayor Hall.
Here. Is Commissioner Phipps?
He's supposed to,
Is he gonna?
we have to do that first.
Okay, all right. Oh, yeah, shoot. Okay, so yeah, I actually moved to permit, move for permitting the electronic attendance by Commissioner Phipps due to employment purposes. Wait a second. Second,
Second.
okay, Sandy, and roll call.
Commissioner Clausen,
Yes.
Commissioner Cox,
Yes.
Commissioner Graven. Yes. Mayor Hall.
Yes,
Done.
Is that
So is
him
that
on
on?
in? I'm not sure.
you bring him in on your phone or?
Did he say if he was joining by?
Yes, I'm on my phone.
Yep, that's
Sorry about
it.
that.
That's him?
I'm gonna guess that's it.
Okay, so you're gonna
Let's see.
ask him if he's present?
Yeah.
That's.
Are you joining the meeting?
Can you hear us?
Yeah, it's 65 degrees out here, so a little different.
Can you hear us now?
Yeah, I can hear you guys. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we
Yeah,
can hear
okay
you.
now. All right, we're all on board. Consent agenda. Items listed on the consent agenda are considered to be routine in nature and will be enacted by one motion. No separate discussion of these items will occur unless a council member requests the item to be removed from the consent agenda. If an item is removed from the consent agenda, it will be considered elsewhere on the agenda for this meeting. Prior to asking for a motion to approve the consent agenda, the mayor will ask if anyone desires to remove an item from the consent agenda for public discussion. Would anybody like to remove an item from the consent agenda? Hearing none, I move to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of December the 17th, 2024, and bills and payrolls for the last half of December 2024 and first half of January 2025. Can I have a second to that motion?
Second.
Mr. Cox and roll call.
Commissioner Cox,
Yes.
Commissioner Graven. Yes. Commissioner Phipps,
Yes.
Commissioner Clausen,
Yes.
Mayor Hall.
Yes. Presentations, petitions, and communications. This portion of the city council meeting is reserved for persons who desire to address the council. The Illinois Open Meetings Act mandates the city council may not take action on comments received on matters that have not been identified on this agenda. But the council may direct staff to address the topic or refer the matter for action on the agenda for another meeting. Persons addressing the council are requested to limit their presentations to 3 minutes and to avoid repetitious comments. We also ask you state your name and address for the record, as well as stand when speaking. We have nobody present. Is anybody online? Apparently not. We don't see any.
Yeah, there's one more besides
Oh, there is?
Commissioner Phipps.
Okay,
So,
It's probably Alex.
okay. Okay, good. Perfect. All right, so we can go directly to department reports. And we start with Kyle Gill.
been working on some posting of some jobs, job descriptions. So we're working on those. Alex and I have got interviews, 3 interviews tomorrow for the grant writer position. We'll see how those go. Not a lot of experience in grant writing, but there is one that has some grant writing experience. But we'll see how those come out. And then pretty much business as usual, working on some stuff with the city manager form of government, talking with some attorneys and getting information as well. Helping the mayor out on some of that. Really business as usual. The one thing I want to say is we've got some compliments today on Public Works and what a good job that they've done cleaning out the roads. This is new for a lot of the department heads and superintendents and a lot of new Public Works guys too. This is probably the first big snow half of them have ever plowed snow in. So I think they've done a really good job, and I want to compliment them on that and all the other departments that have helped out as well. You know, we've had AJ at the water plant and Tom Stroll at the sewer plant coming in and helping as well. So good team effort, and just appreciate everything everyone's done. And I'll open it up for questions for me.
Any questions? Anybody? Ready? City Attorney Dan Jones.
I don't have much to report. I've been on vacation and the holidays, so I'm still awaiting a ruling on the Quackenbush matter. I'll share it when I get it. But that's about all I have. Any questions?
Anybody have any questions? All right, next is City Clerk, Susan O'Brien.
Had short of staff, for the last couple of weeks due to the holidays and that, so, mainly just day-to-day issues and dealing with that, that's all.
Any questions for Susan? Next is Finance, Beth Wright.
But that's out the maintenance sources of revenue sheet. As of today, they were received the notification of the personal property replacement tax. And lower in corner, $114,021.68. So it's significantly less than it was last year and less than it was 2 years ago. But all the warning signs have been that it's going down. I talked today about budgeted revenues for next year. And we're probably going to assume everything is flat. I'm anxious to see what the IML says about the PPRT. Gaming revenue came in, I looked that up this morning. That's leveled off. So I don't anticipate seeing any more growth in gaming revenue. We're about $133,200 down from the year. The unrestricted cash in the general fund today, 10.7 million. Last meeting it was 11.4, and the meeting prior to that it was 10.4. So that's holding steady. I think that's basically all I have to report.
Any questions for Beth? Next is Public Works, Dave Clark.
Yeah, I was gonna say, we haven't done it in a long
Okay, let's see.
Somewhere between 6 and 8 inches of snow. The guys, I appreciate Kyle's comment there. The guys really have done a good job. We're 12-hour shifts, night and day there for a couple days. Now kind of getting back to normal, but still a lot of things to pick up there. I'm still out cleaning up alleys and cleaning up corners, picking up the snow downtown. Hauling some of that away. We'll be doing that, sure, all day tomorrow, maybe even the next day. The salt, we're gonna kind of start holding off on it because it's gonna be cold. It's just not. So whatever we probably got done today is gonna be about all you're gonna see now. So at least for a few days, but we'll see. Other than that, we're working on a lot of design projects that are in-house, from some clarifier plants for the wastewater treatment plant, sidewalk plans for next year, Burgess parking lot, working on what we might do there, striping, just several little things like that. And I know Upchurch is working on the west side drainage, trying to keep that thing going, get some work done on that. And then number one thing that I got them working on is kind of what we're calling the Loop Road out by Walmart. They'll tie in eventually someday to Liddell. So they're getting that report changed so that we can maybe use the money that's left over from that roadway project and Emerald Acres there to extend it out a little bit more to the west of that road. So got a lot of design things right now.
Bill, any questions for Dave?
That sewer line project from the sports complex, that has been delayed, if you will, or?
Yes, yeah, we, on the east side of Detro, there's a gas line that really wasn't
Right.
580, and they're pretty good size. There's fiber optic there, which we knew. We got another sewer line, Navarro's is right there, so looking at that, where it was gonna come in, it was gonna come right into the fire hydrant, in Detro, and then cross over and go down through all that, so we're looking at an alternative there. We talked with the designer, Tim McHorn, this morning. They're going to be working on an adjustment to that, probably be a force main going under Detro to the west side, come down the west side of Detro, and then on that way. So I think we got a plan, get some plans together. They're working on their equipment too, so it would give them a chance to do some job and work on some of those equipment they had out there that they need to do. So,
Perfect.
but yeah, with the snow, it would have been tougher.
Mhm.
We're good. We're good shape. I think we'll get, we're not gonna make the 31st, but this will be a legitimate delay for them. So but we'll give them a few days for that. Comes down to it.
Thank you.
All right. Any questions for Dave? Fire Department Chief Jeff Hilligoss.
Thank you, Mayor. Since the last meeting, you guys answered 173 calls for service inspectors. Did 3 inspections. They did their ARF training, EMS training, had a house that was given to us the ability to go in and use our smoke machine and do some search and rescue stuff in an actual house instead of our training building down on 34th Street. And then I got the grant turned in, finished up, I believe it was last week, for the station rehabilitation grant through the State Fire Marshal's office, requesting $350,000 for the addition to additional bay added Station 3. Working on year-end totals, overall calls, we had 3,449, which was up 381 calls from last year. I'm working on trying to get all the training hours and everything calculated. Hopefully by the next meeting, I'll have a detailed report that I'll probably just email you all instead of reading the whole thing in a council meeting. So that's all I've got unless anybody has anything.
Okay.
I would like to thank Public Works, Parks, everybody had a hand in clearing snow. Keeping our aprons open and the road out front. This one was a tough one to keep on top of, but they did a fabulous job. So thank you.
Great. All right. Police Chief Sam Gaines.
It's been such a long meeting. I think I'll keep it short. I remember to do 3 weeks this time. It's been 3 weeks since our last meeting. 1,178 calls for service and 68 arrests. And I am also working on year-end reports. About got it wrapped up. I should have it emailed to you sometime next week.
Good deal. Any questions? Arts and Tourism, Angelia.
That wasn't right. Okay, I'll be quick too. Collecting letters of intent for grants we expect to process this year, just to help with budgeting. Met this week with Tuscola Tourism. We're going to work on a Central Illinois, small town Central Illinois tourism get together. Back many years ago, we used to have a regional person who would facilitate a lot of those conversations and meetings, and we don't have that anymore. So we're going to try to get that into play. Meeting tomorrow with TJ and Mindy to work on Lightworks for 25. Meeting Thursday with Peyton Morrow to look at 2025 plans. He did complete the mural that's next to the library. And we're going to do we're going to try to see if we can get a couple of those done this year so that we can make a cohesive trail of murals. And I don't know if you've seen it, but I'm really tickled with it. And then Thursday, Mindy and I are meeting with a marketing person from our new agency to talk about Bagel Fest. And of course, I'm working on budget. Regarding Lightworks, still processing, but interesting, we did not do as many cars as last year, but we did more money. Okay with that.
Really?
A lot more people there, but it continues to show that it's relevant to people, and I do love that. So I'll have more information, more detailed about this as we get further into the month.
Good.
All I have.
Any questions? Community Development. Alex, you on there?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, just a couple of quick updates here. So we're working on some reporting for multiple grants. We should hear back sometime this month also about the $3 million substation expansion grant application, which is pretty exciting. We have 6 more houses that will hopefully be demolished by mid-February, and we have 1 ongoing abandonment case with 6 more coming down the pipeline. We're also working on year-end reports for permitting, which should be available next week. And then my last thing here is really just a shout out to Steve and Gary. They've been doing a real great job with reviewing the certificate of occupancy requests and getting those done on time. Same thing for Mike and Kenny at the fire department. Those 4 have really been instrumental in making sure that all of these businesses open up on time at Emerald Acres, and they definitely deserve to be commended for all their hard work. And yeah, that's all I got. Happy to take any questions.
Good. All right, none there. Okay, so comments by council. Start with Dave Cox.
Thank you, Mayor. Just want to thank everybody for all their efforts the last few days. Great job in serving the community. It seems like everything went very smooth and it's greatly appreciated. Just stay safe, and we do appreciate your efforts, and try to stay safe and warm out there as weather gets colder. But thank you. Go ahead.
Any questions for Dave? Next, Jim Clausen.
Thank you, Mayor. Just to follow what Commissioner Cox said, good team effort, and I want to thank police and fire for all those responses during severe weather. Just one thing, Dave, my driveway on the west side, the snow depth was 11 inches, and the reason I know that, my wife measured before she went out to shovel it. So I just want to let you know.
We made sure we.
Oh, that shovel's got to go over better. I practiced that one. Thanks over there.
They may have missed your wife to the show.
Tandem loads, we can deliver it for you.
Yeah.
Really?
Okay, any questions for Jim? Next, Sandy.
Just a shout out to the Public Works guys. I did my part, stayed inside. And I will cave to the fact that the older I get, the less I like to scoot. So I'm starting to shift I like the snow, but it's a little bit, yeah.
We got this on recording.
Yeah, I know. So, yeah, the older I get, I just can't scoot like I used to. But yeah, they did a wonderful job, and I was actually out yesterday. I got to the office for them to call me and tell me that they closed, but I was already, so it was a good day. So that's all.
Very good.
Okay, let's see, David Phipps,
Yes,
are you on there?
I am. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, just to reiterate what Dave and also Kyle said about Public Works, fantastic job, but also fire and police and everybody for what they've done over the last month or the last weekend. I haven't seen the snow yet, so save some of it for me when I get back.
Still be
But
there.
anyway,
Brag.
the other thing I want to say too is I really appreciate all the entire staff, city employees and everybody for a great year. A lot of good things going, a lot of good dynamic staffing we have that get a lot of stuff done in a short amount of time. So very efficient, and I just really appreciate it. But that's all I have.
Okay, any questions for Dave? Just I've been working on changing in the manager form of government, things going on there, phase 2 Emerald Acres, and that's all I've got. I don't know if you have any questions for me right now. Okay, so we do have a executive session. I move to recess to closed session pursuant to Illinois Open Meeting Act for the purpose of the discussion of the appointment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees of the city or legal counsel for the city under 5 ILCS 120 2C1 and collective negotiating matters between the city of Mattoon and its employees or their representatives, or deliberation concerning salary schedules for one or more classes of employees under 5 ILCS 120 2C2. Can I have a second to that motion?
Second.
Commissioner Cox. Okay, just real quick, we're not going to take any action out of that meeting. So we don't have anybody on anyway, so I don't think it makes any difference. But, okay, so roll call.
Okay, Commissioner Graven,
Yes.
Commissioner Phipps,
Yes.
Commissioner Clausen,
Yes.
Commissioner Cox,
Yes.
Mayor Hall.
Yes. Okay. Head into executive session. We don't, oh, you want to go in the first part? Okay, you two guys will be in for the first part then.
I'm going to pause until we get back out of the executive session.
Okay. So we got
Pause
the
and-
business part, 10 minutes.
Yes,
Yes, we're back in session.
I don't know if he is or not. No, he's not on there.
We,
You want to wait just a minute to see if,
yeah,
Commissioner Phipps-
right, exactly. Yes, right. Sorry.
Thank you.
Hey, we're back. Yep.
I tried down and needed the conference and it's like me.
Okay.
It's probably Pat.
Yeah, we blocked you there for a minute, Commissioner Gibbs. Yeah, so, but we're not blocking you now. So now we are back in the session. The thing that has come up in some of our discussions about non-personnel issues is there's some questions that are raised that we need to get some answers to. And I'd like to know, we're moving ahead on a couple of fronts here. We're talking about using 3 separate groups to help us through this process. One of them is ILCMA, which is the Illinois City Managers Association. And then, of course, now we're going to work with another firm to do a search. And then, and the last one is have someone help us with writing a law firm, answering legal questions that we have, and at the same time, work on our ordinance. I believe we need to do these things simultaneously. I think the time that we spend is going to help us. Now, I know we got a couple of legal opinions, which we need to get right away, by the way. And by the way, Kyle, the ones that we need to get that I hear the commissioners say is we need to understand, who should make this decision? This council or wait until May? How much time do we have? What kind of legal issues there's a couple of things that we need to understand clearly before we go forward, because that's going to decide whether this council has to make the decision or the next council has to make the decision.
Right.
Those are a couple of things that we've got to get answered now. We may come up with more legal decisions down the road, but before we can go forward, we're almost at a stopping point until we figure out what the time frame is and what kind of questions that we got to answer right now. Now, maybe it wasn't a very good job of explaining what we need to do here, but I think we need to take some notes here and figure out what the biggest concerns are right now. I sent out a summary of the steps that we went through so far, and there's been some progress, by the way, since then. But we still have to understand, what we need to do here. And I don't care who we start with. Commissioner Phipps, you said to me that you had some concerns. And number one, that we don't have a list of the things that we need to have answered. And whether we're even following a path that's legal. Okay.
That's the first step, is to get that attorney opinion on who's making all decisions. The statute's very clear on what our role is as an existing council that transfers from administrator form of government to a city manager form of government. We hand off what we hand off to the new council. Makes sense. So,
Okay, and what do you think that is?
it's in the statute. I don't have it in front of me, but it's pretty.
Well, what concerns do you have that we may not be doing?
In your timeline, it's about hiring somebody in mid-March.
Right, that's the last meeting in March.
City manager in mid-March.
Right.
I think we could do it.
That is contradictory what the reply was from our one-on-one meetings. That the May 6th council is the one that makes that decision on.
The one-on-one meetings with who?
I met with everybody individually, and that, you met with me, Sandy did, of course, Jim did, and
Okay.
and Dave did. And I don't think that's contradictory with anything that was said in that meeting.
That's,
I didn't say that. And I know, as I recall, talking to some of the others, I don't want to speak for them. It makes sense because they're seeing.
Well, May 6th is,
That was the contradictory part that I felt like we needed. Let's just get that opinion.
okay,
We can,
okay, so that's fairly easy to solve, but May 6th has always been the date that the new council is seated.
correct.
That doesn't mean that we cannot implement the new form of government before then.
that's where.
That's where we need an opinion.
Okay.
Anyway.
Often
You
it's
take that up.
Six.
And therefore, your thinking is we cannot make this decision about what we do.
That's certainly the way I'm reading it.
Tell me,
You know, it's the-
Where, yeah, I'd like to know which statute and where he's getting it.
John said, he said, Dan said that, it's also based on case studies too. So, which I don't have access to.
what we agreed in there, just so you know, is that Dan would work with Ansel Glink hand in hand. And Dan would hear from them what statutes it is. He would have a chance to review it himself and come back with an opinion of what we can do.
Ansel Blank wasn't mentioned.
Well, okay, yeah.
An attorney,
Right, an attorney.
attorney firm.
Yeah, whoever leads.
My feedback is Ansel Blank is not doing the job.
We don't totally disagree with you.
No.
Yeah.
It really is an attorney or a law firm. We got Ansel Glink's, we got two law firms' names from, I guess we actually now have four. We have four attorney law firms' names.
We have four, I thought it was just three.
Well, we only call, we called the top one that they gave us.
Yeah.
We've only talked to three firms.
Yes.
Would you agree with that?
Mhm.
Okay. And Ansel Glink was, well, no, maybe that's not.
No, two firms.
Okay.
Ansel Glink, we've talked to, I've
Okay.
talked to another
Exactly,
one,
right.
and then we have.
Because Ansel Glink was the firm that had so much experience with other municipalities in these areas. But Kyle and I would both agree that and I shouldn't prejudice you, but we were not particularly excited about the way they treated us.
Okay.
And I'm not sure we're going to get the kind of attention that we need, but we made a contact with one other firm that we need to figure out how responsive they're willing to be.
Right.
And they do work with municipalities on a lot of different subjects.
Yeah, to find a law firm that's really experienced in this, I think will be difficult.
Right.
I don't think there's a lot of cities that change enough that one law firm goes, yeah, I've done 4 or 5 of these, for municipalities. The one I did talk to last night, and then text this morning was, this gentleman himself hasn't done it, but, he had some people in his group that have.
That's that Michael Jurasik. Is that right?
Yep.
Yeah, so we want to follow up. I've not talked to this guy yet. He did come recommended by Brad Cole with IML. And of course, it really comes down to, do we think he'll be responsive to us? And will he respond to some legal questions right away?
Sure. Get your copy of the statute. I can get everybody a copy of that statute. That city can do it.
Yeah.
I'll do that.
Okay. So, so we will proceed at least down that path. And the one thing that we've said, we got to figure out this May 6th date and what we need to do by that date and what we can do before that date.
Yeah.
It's correct.
Can this council make the decision? Can the other council, do they have to make the decision? Can either council make the decision? That's the kind of thing we need to find out. And by the way, how much time? It seems like the time, when does this have to be done? Is there a drop dead date? What if we miss that date? What happens?
Well, I think, Mayor, we're going to know, Dan working with a law firm, we get the specific date of implementation. number one. And number two, to me, once we get that, it allows our time frame. If it's May 6th, it slows it down a little bit.
Right.
But then we implement with Jim Arndt, who we've talked about, to start the process and move forward with it. But I think those two go hand in hand. And I didn't hear you. The law firm that Brad Cole recommended
Right.
could answer our questions
I believe
and help with ordinances.
they could.
They could.
I don't think Brad Cole he bailed us out on an auditing firm. I would trust anything that Brad Cole says. And if that can be the contact that Dan can work with, I think that gets everything started. If all that makes sense, and then we're ready to roll. But we could be doing a lot of work and all of a sudden, hey guys, you can't do anything till May 6th.
Well, doing work on the ordinance is not a waste of time. It has to be done.
It has to be done. So, I mean,
That's
But
not,
what is this ordinance?
you may not be able to pass it,
Implement it.
implement it until May 6th, say.
Okay.
But you can have all the groundwork done.
but, yeah, by the way,
Which is a switch over to.
Statute, in the statute, it cites ordinances as one of the obligations of this council.
right,
Right.
Makes sense.
right.
Right.
Well,
There's the ordinances, you gotta, here's the things obviously for the city manager, you have to, you implement it. So, I wish I had the, I know it's 5 or 6, but, detail of it, I wish I had with me this second.
Managerial form is,
Send it later this week.
yeah, managerial is Article 5. So
You're right.
the council form of government's Article 4. And so there is some things you got to look at both articles, and that is where we've had some issues with Ansel Glink.
okay.
I would like to be involved in those discussions if possible, if that's an assignment or whatever, but at least to be that conversation, knowledge of
At a minimum, we would have the attorneys put it in writing what the rules are.
pressure.
That would be at a minimum.
Correct.
I don't want to delay this process any longer than what we have to.
First step.
So we'll be very specific about what we ask, and they will have to respond either in writing, or if they don't feel comfortable, and Dan, our city attorney, or whoever else that we're talking to, they can, on some of these issues, we can handle them in executive session. Some of them we can't. We would have to have an open session, but that's fine. That's fine to do that.
Part of this also is part of this whole process is also the terms of the new council.
Right. Some of them are going to be 2-year terms.
No, it's part of the process.
Right.
Position that has to be.
It has to be decided, but the term is not a to die thing right now.
No, certainly not. And I'm not disagreeing with you that we shouldn't delay it, but I also don't want to rush into this either. I don't got our accelerator down. I think we need to take a breath and say, okay, let's go through the steps that need to be taken. Let's keep moving forward on it. We've got everything in a row, May 6th. We've got ducks, April 1st after the election, and then we're ready to go.
Well,
So I don't disagree with you on that.
yeah. Okay. What other critical things do we need to do right now? Anybody?
How quick do we,
What is that, ice cream?
yeah.
Well, you don't want to, we can walk out the door and get ice cream off
Ice cream.
the sidewalk. It's a little salty, but
Make sure you check the color. Yeah.
yeah.
I think once I know I'm repeating myself, we get the state statute thing confirmed with the legal firm, working with our city attorney, then, and not delay it, depending how quick they get a response, not wait till city council, have a special meeting and approve a contract with Jim Arndt.
Yeah.
Step 2.
Okay.
And then Arndt can start that process and walk us through.
Yeah. Okay.
So those 2 steps in order.
It would bother me if a law firm would not put something in writing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only thing, it would be too. Hopefully it's not a document that's 50 pages long.
No, I mean, a memo or something
Yeah.
that's, here's your steps or whatever, here's what the requirements are, but I would think that they would put it in writing.
Some law firms are very, very particular about a legal document, a legal opinion, as opposed to a legal a memo that responds to our question.
They can put, in my opinion, I'm good with that.
Yeah, yeah, okay, okay. Is that good enough for right now?
And I think that's what we're trying to get
Right.
solved
Now,
right now anyways.
and people are prepared. We need to get as much done up front as we can, because I'm concerned about us. You bring a new council in that have never been to a meeting, maybe, and you're going to lay it on them to hire someone to be on the job, to approve ordinances, to address legal state stuff. You'll overwhelm them so fast, they won't have a clue what's going on. At least this body, and I suspect, I mean, we know we're going to have, we know we're going to have at least 2 from this group. We can't replace more than 3. So at least 2 from this group are going to, and odds are good that they're only going to have one new person. And that person isn't going to know what's going on either, by the way. So Sandy's been around long enough to know, and hopefully is still committed to the community and will make us help us make the right decision. But still, all right. Done enough for now? Okay. Okay, so anybody like to make a motion?
I'd like most to adjourn.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Phipps,
Yes.
Mr. Clausen,
Yes.
Mr. Cox.
Yes.
Mr. Graven,
No.
Mayor Hall.
Yes. Meeting adjourned. Thank you very much.
Get out.
Yeah.